if I might. You've described the competition between China and the United States as having three parts, one of which is the race for frontier AI. Could you explain exactly what you mean and why it's so critical to be the first mover to achieve frontier AI? And can you explain recursive self-improvement and its relevance?
Thanks, Senator. So, Senator, I think the first element of this is just raw capability. We want more powerful models than China. We talked about the cyber case. We want better models for cyber defense, for cyber offense. We want better models to power scientific research. We have always relied on our innovation to power higher economic growth and to power more powerful military systems. So staying on the frontier is about raw capability. With respect to recursion, what that refers to is that frontier labs are increasingly using our AI to improve our AI systems. This is not speculative. We see that today. Anthropic today is now hiring engineers who are in some sense more managers than they would have been a few years ago because they are managers of AI agents. And so this is already a reality, and we expect to see even more of that. And what that could mean, and the timelines I want to say are not clear. It could take a bit longer, but in the next year or two, we could see efforts to really kind of close the loop where the AI can recursively self-improve itself with less and less human intervention. And what that could mean is a lead that begins with 6 months could really be extended rather rapidly. And so it's absolutely essential that we stay at the frontier for that reason.
Mr. Allen.
Senator, if I may, I'm sure you're all familiar with Moore's Law, the documented phenomenon whereby computer chips become roughly twice as powerful per unit of cost input every 2 years. This is a documented phenomenon going back to the 1960s, and it has led to literally a trillion-fold improvement in the power of computer chips per the amount of money that you put into them. But that occurred over 5 decades. If you look at progress in AI right now, there are 4 simultaneous phenomena that all exhibit Moore's Law-like characteristics. That is, the amount of training data that is used to train these models is doubling every number of years. The amount of computing power at the largest computing facilities has gone from 1,000 chips to 1,000,000 chips, has a path to 10 million chips. The performance per chip is going up, and just the efficiency of the algorithms in utilizing computing resources. And so what that means is that progress in AI might not look like Moore's Law. It might not look like 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. It might look more like 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. And so we might be very far away from transformative AI capabilities in terms of performance. Perhaps you've used ChatGPT or some other system and said, this is impressive, but is this really earth-shattering? But the point is, even if we are far away in terms of performance from something that might be earth-shattering, we might not be that far away in terms of years. And that is because we have these multiple simultaneous exponential growth phenomenon, so that AI 5 years from now might not be 5 times better, it might be 5,000 or 5 million times better. And that is a capability that America needs to have first.
Thank you. Dr. Mulvannon, if I might, just 2 questions. What more can and should we be doing to promote adoption, and in particular, adoption within the U.S. military and intelligence communities to match what you were describing in terms of the CCP and PLA adoption strategies? And as we sign deals, or the Trump administration has signed deals with Saudi Arabia and other countries in the Gulf, could you just talk us through briefly what kinds of guardrails and security measures we ought to have in place?
Well, in my answers earlier to Senator Schatz's question about values, I will admit I'm a little troubled by our embrace of the Stargate project in the Middle East, given the unsavory reputation of some of the regimes that are involved there. No one is doubting that they have the financial resources in order to fund this large-scale development, but I see no evidence from their political systems that they embrace the same value structure that we do, and to what extent is that going to be coded into the systems they're developing? And I would remind you of the development among these countries of things like companies like Dark Matter and other ones that ended up being ruinous sort of human rights violators in terms of developing spyware models and other things used to hack dissidents and other people within their system. So it's a cautionary tale in my view. But on the other side, in terms of the Chinese military, the Chinese military has so thoroughly embraced this idea. But I will say, and I'll go against my Irish heritage here, there's actually some good news here in the sense that we're detecting a really significant clash between the Chinese military's command culture and these technologies that are not meshing well at all, that don't match up with the sort of control-freaky ways in which the Chinese military's political control system is structured. And so there are ways of exploiting those seams in China's military implementation of AI by taking advantage of those pathologies of their military command culture and seeing them as real roadblocks to them fully implementing the technology. But at a fundamental level, there is a fundamental difference between our two military cultures. In the Chinese military, for instance, if you cut a system like this off from the brain, it results in paralysis. Whereas in our military culture, if you get cut off from higher echelon, you're like, woohoo, right? Because now you're going to take commander's intent and you're going to take the full acme of military skill and training and you're going to go John Wayne some stuff, right? And, so it's just a fundamental difference between our two militaries.
Thank you. Thank you all for your testimony.